for me, like this is exactly where it clicked. I feel so connected.
Meet Lena, who left Germany several years ago and eventually found herself in Bangkok, a city she never expected to call home. After years of travel and remote work, she shares how faith, environment, and surrender to the unknown reshaped the way she sees success, belonging, and the idea of home itself. I'm Tyler, showing what life abroad is really like, straight from those living it around the world. Come along.
When I started traveling, everything started to happen already for certain reasons, right? And one reason, obviously, was for me to come to Bangkok. I never really liked big cities, and I was always like, I grew up on the countryside, and I'm a small village girl. And so Bangkok was never a choice that I would have chosen. But there was a point at the end of 2022 where I went here, and I had a voice in my mind, and it said, you should unpack your suitcase here. And I was like, okay. So before that, I was always traveling, right, with my suitcase, my backpack. First, I started as a backpacker. Then I started working remotely. Then I started building my own projects and business. And all of a sudden, I'm supposed to stay at a place and unpack my suitcase. So I really was like, I don't know, but I'm just going to trust this impulse and I'm going to do it. It feels like my heart is home here. So I know that I'm at the right place for a reason. And it feels like my heart is home. And so that's why I got to Bangkok.
That's nice. So is listening to that voice, has that always been a big part of your life, how you navigate life?
That's a very good question because yes, it has been. So not always. I was growing up in a household where it wasn't always easy. So it was kind of, I needed some higher help. Like I was, as a human being, I didn't feel like I could handle all of that. Then there was a time like I was traveling and I could really connect to that higher power. Now I'd say it's God. Like yeah, I feel it. But back then I wouldn't have called it God because I was so, religion and stuff. I was like, oh, super weird. And this voice has always spoken to me and pulled me out of very hard situations. And so after I traveled, like when I was in Australia with my backpack and New Zealand and stuff like that after school, I started to really trust that voice, to kind of give a fuck what everyone else says and just trust that voice. And miracles happened that I was like, oh my gosh, like this, it has to be real. This is true, like it exists and it guides us.
So what type of things happen?
Okay, one thing was that I was at a job, I was an au pair. And I felt so caught in that job. I really didn't like it, but also I felt so sorry, right, for the family and the kids. And I was like, should I quit? Should I just do completely my own stuff without a plan, without knowing where to go, with surrendering into the unknown? And I was like, no, because I need that money and da-da-da-da-da. Then the thoughts they did not leave anymore. And it always felt like harder to stay. And I was like asking for a sign. Now I would say I was praying for a sign. Back then I would have said I was asking for one. And I went out and my train was delayed. So I was in Melbourne, my train was delayed and I didn't know where I should go now to get back home. And so I met this guy. He stands there with a book and his skateboard, super cool guy. And I just asked him if he has to go to the right, to the same direction. And he says, yes, let's go. I know where we have to go to. And he asks me, first thing, what do you do here? And I say, I'm an au pair. He says, do you like it? I say, no. He's like, quit. He just said quit. And I'm like, I don't even know you. I don't know his name. I didn't know nothing about him. And the first question he asked was the question that has been swirling around in my mind for so long. And then I was like, okay, I gotta quit. That's what I did. And things unfolded. And like, this is where it started, that I just trust. And then there was a time when I was back in Germany after my travels, after my journey. And I thought, I have to get back into the normal system, into that system that society has created. And I have to be part of it. And I have to work a normal job. I have to study, I had a good grades at school and stuff. So everyone kind of was expecting that from me. And so I got in a job there and I already knew, because also there things were happening. I knew this is not the right way to go for me. But I was like, I have to, this is what society says. And I got depressed, really depressed. Like I got lower. There was a time and a point where I really, my thoughts didn't stop anymore. I hit my head against the wall to stop the thoughts. I went to a psychologist. She said, I'm diagnosed with recurrent depression and I have to go to the clinics and take medication. And I got out of this office and I was like, something inside of me started to happen. I was like, no, this cannot be true. Because in Australia, when I followed that voice, things were just aligning and miracles happened. And now the society tells me that I'm sick and that I was like, something's wrong here. For
Yeah.
me, something feels wrong. And I always explained people what happened there was a golden spark inside of me, and I really saw it like as an image, and it started to flame up. There was a flame ignited, and now only a few weeks ago, like it's how many years later is it now? So that was 2019 back then. Now we have 2025. I read in the Bible how Jesus appears in people as a flame. And so I was like, now I know who that voice was all along the way, all along the journey. And so, yeah, I quit also that job and that studies and started writing a book. And I wrote my own book, and then things just fell together. And then I found my first remote job. I started working as a freelancer. Besides it, I opened up my first own business. And so that's how the flow just went on.
So the moment you just let go, took that leap of faith, everything worked itself out.
Yes, it's that.
It's amazing.
And not that it's always easy or it's not challenging, but there's always someone that has your back. Even if you feel like, oh my gosh, this was not how it's supposed to be or how it was planned, but you know something greater wants to be part of your life. You're supposed to be somewhere else, and that's why things have to happen to move you.
So that moment you really made that decision to just do it, what did that feel like?
It felt freeing. It really felt freeing. Like my mind became peaceful again after a certain time. It was also a decision to block out that outer noise and to only listen to people that are where I'm supposed to go to in that direction, and that I feel connected to and that I feel respect for.
Sure.
And even that, sometimes I don't listen to people at all because there is this guidance, this inner guidance. So I'm like, whatever anyone says, I know I have to do it, or I know I can't do it. Like, this is just it's kind of a guide that also protects.
Absolutely. How did your family, how did they respond when you made this decision?
Oh, that was a crazy thing because they were not happy about it at all. Yeah, it wasn't good things that were happening there back then, but somehow I got that strength and that faith. It didn't come from me. I don't know how a person could have that strength. And so I had that faith, and that gave me the strength to keep following my path. And it always sent me the right people, right impulses. Or when that feeling when you walk on the street and a message pops up for you, and I gotta read that right now.
Yes.
I understand, thank you. And this kept happening a lot. And I always knew I'm not alone. And it's also when people ask me when I was traveling alone, do you not feel lonely? And I'm like, no, I don't feel lonely. I don't know that feeling. Like, I'm never alone. And so, yeah, things were really just falling together.
When you were younger, did you have that instinct of listening to just what you were feeling inside?
I'm a deep thinker, I would say. Like, my thoughts go quite deep. They also don't stop then. And I think back then when I was younger, I kind of got lost in there because I didn't have that higher power voice. It was just my human voice, and I struggled a lot with it. I really struggled a lot with it. I think I was open to receive it already because also my grandma, she used to pray for us since we were very young. And so I think this is a blessing, and it has been a blessing for all my life. But I can remember situations where I also laid in bed, for example, and things were horrible again at home, but I had this knowledge. I knew that I have to go through this right now because I will pull people out later. Like, I knew. So that's how I also could handle it, and I could manage it. I was maybe 13 or something, or even younger. And this was what I knew already. And this is also really what I'm doing now.
Sure.
I think everyone has it. We're all coming from one source, and we're all connected, and it's just that the distractions try to keep us away from that. But in reality, it's always there.
So of all the places you visited, where have you felt that feeling the most?
Very interesting question, because I also feel like that at some places you feel it more, at some places you feel it less. Bangkok, I would say, for me, like, this is exactly where it clicked, and where I feel like now I feel so connected. And also in Lisbon, I feel very connected. You build it up in places like this where you feel it easy, but then you carry it with you in places where it might not be that easy, but then you can spread a light for others to help them open up for that voice too.
So are you a proponent of your environment makes you, or do you make your environment? Or is it a little of both?
I think it's a little of both. I think because every environment has different circumstances that come with it. Everything is kind of influencing each other. I don't think that we as a human being have the power to influence our whole environment. We have the power when something flows through us, but also it flows through the environment. So the environment has also the power to change you. So I think it's a little of both. It meets. And I think what's important is to have a acceptance and respect for your environment, for the people around you, for nature. And then people around you, nature, everything will have respect for you too. So and I think then it's like it balances out.
So is that a very important part of your life, is finding that balance?
For me, it's really inner peace and also what it does with the outside world, and business and life and relationships everywhere. The combination is very important for me.
So looking at the journey you've taken so far, what would you say has been the most difficult part of it, of this lifestyle?
Before I really realized that I'm not alone and that I don't need humans to not feel alone, but there is something else, like God, I often struggled with feeling a bit lost. Like even though things were going right or things were looking great on the outside, sometimes I felt lost inside. Because also when you change environments a lot, people change a lot. Like they always leave a mark on your heart, which is amazing, but then you don't see them anymore, for example. I think that was a very difficult part. But on the other hand, I made such great connections that even now, I think of them, I text them, I pray for them, and we still connect sometimes. And they keep sending me pictures, for example, or sending me texts, how much I touched their heart. So it's like, I don't know, it builds up and it fills you up with gratitude and love.
So would you say Bangkok has changed you as a person?
Oh, 100%, yes. So I think every place changes you a little bit, like your personality. I think the core will always stay the same, but the outside layers, you get rid of them, or they change, they evolve, whatever. Bangkok has changed me in a way that, it's actually a very good question. I don't know if I have an answer for it. I think that peace that I always knew was possible and that I sometimes felt already. Bangkok showed me how it feels when it's there more constantly. And also when things in the outside get harder or seem rougher or seem harder, that this is the place where you can get back to without the circumstances don't matter for that feeling to have, for that connection to get back to. And this is probably what it has taught me the most.
What about your perceptions of success and happiness? Has that changed?
So for me, success and happiness, they have to align. Like for me, it's no either or, it's an end. There's a connection between the two. Like for me, when someone gave me success without happiness, I wouldn't call it success. And when someone gave me happiness without success, I couldn't call it full happiness, because for me, creating success in the outside world means also giving me happiness and being fulfilled, because I feel like the work we're doing, the task we're fulfilling, the journey we're walking, it has to carry a meaning. And that meaning, when it multiplies, like that, when you have a strong meaning and you know that this task is something that not only your ego wants to reach, but you feel called to do that, then success is inevitable. How do you say it?
Inevitable?
Inevitable, yes. So that's how I see it. And also everyone should define success on their own terms. Like success for me was already back then when I was walking my own journey and my own path. And it wasn't connected to the money I made back then, but I was so fulfilled and I had an impact on people already and on companies that I was working for. I could shine a light in there. And that was success for me as well already. So I feel like it's important nowadays, especially, to really define success on your own terms and not let anyone tell you what success is or what it's not. Because everyone has a different definition of it. And it's definitely, for me, it's an alignment of peace, like happiness, and the outer success that you're creating with it, because you're giving meaning. So you're creating an impact. And when you create a positive impact, things will get, like, what goes around comes around.
So seeing your life as a journey, would you say right now that you're living it to the fullest?
I would say yes. And I would say we're living it to the fullest at every point, at every second, at every moment, because life has been given to us as a gift, as a present. And once we realize that and we're grateful for every moment, we're living it to the fullest already now. It doesn't mean it can't evolve or go further. It will. Life is always a constant thing of change. But I'd say that every one of us already lives it to the fullest. And when you realize that, things can happen to grow and to evolve. When you don't realize that yet, then it's like a constant game of struggle. That's how I would name it.
So, what's the greatest lesson you think you've learned so far?
We are definitely not anything self-made, and it's never our own powers and strengths that we bring into this world. We do have talents, we do have gifts, we do have certain things that came with incarnating to this earth that we're supposed to use, but it doesn't come from us. It starts somewhere else and it comes through us. And I think this is the biggest click I had and the biggest thing I learned. And once I understood that, things felt so much lighter, easier, happier, more peaceful, more aligned, less like a fight, more like a flow.
Do you think that's the goal of life, to come to that understanding that you have?
I'd wish everyone can have that feeling, because I think it balances a lot of things out, but I wouldn't want to position myself as a person that's saying, yes, everyone needs to have this, and this is, it feels wrong. So maybe other people have other experiences that they have to make in this world. I mean, I wish that everyone can feel like that, but I wouldn't say I'm also still learning. I think we all are, and I think it's a never-ending game of learning, and I don't think that at any point of our lives we can say we have it all figured out, because I don't think we'll ever have.
You think it's much broader than anything we can comprehend?
Yes, for me there is this truth that there is a creator.
Mm-hmm.
This is the truth that for me, that makes so much sense. But I also wouldn't want to convince anyone. I would pray for people to feel that connection and to maybe let them be found. But it's not a human thing that we should do. It's in God's hands.
So what would you say to someone or multiple people who see your life, see how you're living it now, and they're inspired to make their own changes, but they're just afraid to take that first step?
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
I would really say you have to take the first step so that things can unfold and align. Because when you don't walk that first step, and there's always going to be a next first step. But if you don't walk them, no one can work with you, because it's like you're blocking it. You're stopping it, you're blocking it. Like fear, that feeling of fear, of guilt, of shame, they block you, they hold you back. They want to keep you in your comfort zone. And so no hand can really properly work with you. So when you just know and acknowledge them, they're there, I feel them. So you just walk that first step, and you will see miracles happening. Everyone will.